welcome anime fans and foodies to Anime Bento. Each week, we bring you some news, talk about our favorite shows and characters, give you a fun recipe, and give you some suggestions on what to watch or what we're just into this week. Joining me this week is
Hi, everybody. It's Jason again.
Jason. It's been such a long, I was going to say forever, but not literally forever, but it's been so long since you've been on the podcast. I mean, we took that long hiatus, so we're back, but we haven't had you on for a while. So what have you been up to since the listeners have last heard from you?
Oh gosh, what have I been up to? A lot of nothing and a lot of everything. Which what does that mean? So yeah, like I've just been, working hard, doing conferences for work, speaking at events, all that fun stuff. But nobody wants to hear about my work. I don't want to hear about my work. So outside of that, been enjoying a lot of JRPGs. I think I mentioned that last time I was on the podcast, and probably the time before that. That I'm a huge JRPG fan. I've been working on my own for a little bit now, so it's slow. It's a slow but steady process. I know it's possible to make one on your own. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the one Chained Echoes, the indie one that like blew up 3 or 4 years ago. That was like made by one guy, so I could probably pull that off too, if I put my mind to it. But yeah, so that's been one of my big little side projects lately is building my own JRPG. Other than that, just my volunteer work, all that fun stuff, hanging out with friends, spending time with a girlfriend, normal things.
Nice. Are you gonna add like a gotcha system to your JRPG?
No, because I hate
Rake the
gotcha
money in.
systems.
What is that gotcha game? What is it? Genshin Impact?
Yes,
You
yeah.
know,
I hate when JRPGs go make a mobile version, and they almost always fail. It's very rare that a JRPG that was always on console or PC decides to go mobile, because they usually lean heavily into the gotcha system and it turns people off really quickly.
yeah. I feel like I get really obsessed with the gotcha system. Like, there's always that character I really want to get, and I get really obsessed about it. And then once I'm like 20 in and I don't get that character, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna quit this game. It's like it's gonna suck all my money out if I stay in here. Um, so yeah, I don't do that too. I don't really play that many gotcha games actually. So I'm saving myself from that money, but I don't know. That'd be fun to make your own JRPG. I don't know what mine would be about. Um, maybe it'll be about that character, that AI, that picture you sent me the other day of myself
Oh
being
yeah,
all
you
angry.
shouldn't
Maybe
make it.
maybe I just jump to animes and be like, actually, this is not factual. What's happening in this universe right now?
You remember the game Gex, where they actually remastered it or remade it or whatever and released it a year ago. But if you remember the game Gex, where like the gecko jumps into the TVs, and in a very intellectual property safe way, he'll jump into things that are like off brands of popular TV shows. So like an off-brand Looney Tunes, he'll jump into like an off-brand kung fu movie or whatever, off-brand Chucky movie. You should do that, where you just jump into like the off-brand versions of animes.
This anime feels familiar, but it's not copywritten.
Exactly. The what's it called? The royalty-free anime.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Oh, I was obsessed with Gex the Gecko. I think, is it Gex 3, the one where he looks like James Bond on the cover?
I
Whichever.
believe so.
That one I was like so obsessed with. I didn't own it, but I constantly rented it. Uh, when you rented video games. I don't know if you remember this place. It was called Planet Hollywood. Was it called Planet Hollywood? Is it called
Hollywood
Planet
Video.
Hollywood Videos? Yeah, Hollywood Videos. And I would like every weekend. I'd be like, we gotta rent. I would tell my parents like as soon as I was like, we gotta go. We gotta get Gex 3. If we don't get it, someone else is gonna rent it and it will not be there. by the time we got there. So I was obsessed with that game on the PlayStation. So maybe maybe I should do that. Um, yeah, that could be fun. I wonder what animes I would want to jump into. I mean, Fairy Tale, of course. Yeah, yeah. Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes.
Man,
But you have to do it in like royalty free way. So like instead of Full Metal Alchemist, it's like Totally Iron Dude or something like that.
totally iron, science, magic, power world.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be fun. I don't know. Now I'm trying to think. Well, con season is starting up for myself. I know I mentioned this a little bit in the past episode. But next week I'll be flying off to San Diego, going to Comic Con there. So I'm really excited about that. Got a whole bunch of things planned to do for the podcast. I'm excited. I'm actually going to be recording the podcast live from San Diego. So I'm excited and nervous to see how that all goes. Trying to get, I was talking to you before we started recording about like getting all my costumes ready and stuff, but I've actually been trying to play around with recording audio. So I have the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 and it has a little
N-
microphone.
Nice.
So, yeah, so I've been like playing around. I actually bought one of those, like little reporter microphones that I can put mine
Nice.
in so I can interview people. So I'm excited. We'll see how it goes. If this live one goes well, then I plan on doing it again in the future because next month in August, I'll actually be attending Pokemon Worlds in San Francisco and I would love to do something live. I mean, even us two could record live together because I'll be near your neck of the woods.
Indeed.
So that'll be exciting. But other than all that stuff, just the same old, working, uh, being a nuisance to society, all that fun stuff. Watching a lot of anime, which is how I relax. It's fun because it's like I watch anime to do the podcast with, and then I have my like relaxing animes. So
Yeah. I know how that goes. You have like, it's like when with our King of the Hill podcast, it's like when it's podcast season, you're watching it scientifically almost, like trying to document everything. And then all of a sudden, like when the podcast is over, you can just watch and enjoy it.
yeah, it's like it's kind of like I got it totally because sometimes we'll be watching an episode for like to record the podcast. Uh, that's not my first podcast. You can listen to it on any streaming channel. Um, yeah, sometimes we'll be watching, especially the new seasons. There are like a couple episodes where I wasn't like totally grooving into it. And then there were ones where I was like, I really want to rewatch this episode. Like
Mm-hmm.
when Bobby makes his own beer, I was like, oh, I can rewatch this one a couple of times. But you got, definitely excited for the new season to come up. But that's another podcast. I'm sure we're going to record that soon and we'll be talking about that.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy King of the Hill, definitely check out our other show that Jason and I do together.
Yeah. Especially since what, next week, I think, or sometime either next week, the week after. I don't know. It comes out this month.
This month, whoa, this month is almost over.
Yeah.
Is it coming out the week of Comic Con? Oh, man.
I think it is coming out the week of Comic Con.
Okay. Well, I don't know. We'll have to figure out something. We should do something for it soon. But
Yeah.
that's another time. Definitely check that out, guys. Jason and I have a lot of fun doing that one. So you'll definitely enjoy it. And as two Texans, that'll be definitely a great podcast to check out.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on, the battle for the biggest anime headlines never end. From new seasons to unexpected plot twists, now here's everything you need to know in this week's anime news. We've got a fascinating crossover story this week that brings together anime fans, Yuri fans, and even classic rock fans. The upcoming anime adaptation of The Girl She Was Interested in wasn't a guy at all made headlines this week after it was revealed that Nirvana's iconic 1991 song Breed will serve as the anime's opening theme. But the story gets even bigger when former Nirvana drummer and Foo Fighter frontman Dave Grohl shared his thoughts on the series. In a special interview with manga creator Sumiko Ari, Grohl said he believes Kurt Cobain would have loved the series, praising its message, aesthetic, and overall vibe. He also expressed excitement about the music being featured throughout the anime. The anime is currently scheduled to premiere in January of 2027. A new comedy anime called Chainsmoker Cat has officially arrived. And yes, the title is exactly what you think it is. The series follows Yanni, a cat girl with a serious smoking addiction who is constantly struggling to get her life together. Between trying to quit, struggling to pay rent, and relying on her friends and family to help her out, Yanni's everyday life is basically a chaotic comedy of bad decisions. This anime is based off the manga Yanni Nico by Yan Yan Factory. The series is actually getting multiple versions. Fans can watch the standard broadcast version, but there's also an uncut edition called the Evil Dragon Unleashed version, which aims to preserve the creator and director's original vision. The anime is being streamed globally in July of 2026, so this month, and will be streamed on Netflix. And hopefully, we'll get the uncut version here in the States, but it is select regions only. And lastly, gamers, VR fans, and anime lovers have another reason to dust off their controllers because Shangri-La Frontier is officially returning for Season 3, set to premiere in January of 2027. There is a short little preview video out, and you can watch that on YouTube. All right, everyone, it's time for the part of the show where we make questionable decisions and defend them confidently. Our rotating anime segment starts now. Segment of the week. Bring it on and let's speak. This week's segment is This Should Be an Anime JRPG edition. So, as Jason said, he is a big fan of JRPGs, and there are a whole bunch of them that haven't been turned into animes yet. Unlike the one we did last time we talked on the podcast with Star Ocean. You should check that episode out, everyone. But Jason and I will go back and forth, and we will talk about JRPGs that we think should be turned into animes. So, would you like to go first, Jason?
Sure. Now, when you told me this, one I was going to say was Suikoden 2, but apparently it is getting an anime later this year, so that's off the table. One that I think should be an anime that there is an animated series in the works for it. However, it is geared towards children, like the demographic's supposed to be 9 to 13, I believe in the age. I want them to make an actual accessible anime for everybody that is based on one of my favorite JRPGs, Final Fantasy IX. Like, it should follow the game more or less. Maybe it could take place, be a prequel or a sequel or something like that. But I would absolutely love a Final Fantasy IX anime.
Okay, piggybacking off of you, I have two Final Fantasies on my list. I don't have a lot of JRPGs. I'm not as vastly knowledge as you are, but these two Final Fantasy games are ones I really love. They're very special to me. One, of course, because I told you this one is my favorite. Final Fantasy VIII. I love it so much. I want everyone to play it. It's actually the first Final Fantasy that I played all the way through. Um, I don't know. I got really addicted to the story. I got really addicted to that card game that you could play inside of it. Uh, I love it. It. I think every Final Fantasy lends itself to become an anime. They're just epic stories about saving the world, whatever world it may be. And yeah, they play like cinematic shows already. My favorite thing about Final Fantasies, I haven't played one recently, so I don't know if it still exists. But do they still have those like really beautiful cutscenes? Like after you play a little bit, there's like a full like movie kind of cutscene.
Not so much anymore. a lot of sometimes they'll do a pre-rendered cutscene. In fact, they still kind of do, but a lot of it is just in engine. So it uses the game engine to do it, or it's like the technology is so good that sometimes it's not. Unless you're really paying attention, it's hard to tell when it cuts over from engine to pre-rendered. But yeah, I mean they still do pre-rendered stuff for like certain scenes or whatever, but a lot of it's in engine. A lot of the pre-rendered cutscenes from back in the day was just due to the technical limitations of the time.
Oh, I really loved when it just like cut away. You like set your controller down and you can like, oh, I'm watching a movie now. That and I loved when Guardian Forces would like summon and there would be a little intro video for them. But for me, Final Fantasy VIII needs to be an anime as well. Like, I mean, they should base. My other pick was Final Fantasy X. I love Final Fantasy X already. I think that should be its own show as well. So you might as well just do all three, 8, 9, and 10. You know, just hit all those Final Fantasies. Not that they need a bigger audience, but I love those two. So those would be my picks. I love Squall, Zell, everyone, and then at 10 you get Walk Up. So I think there's a whole bunch of fun characters in those games.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. I think actually funny enough, so my first Final Fantasy ever was 8 as well. Talking about going to Hollywood Video, I have distinct memories of going to Blockbuster like in the late 90s, and they had it's about my size at the time, a cardboard cutout to advertise, that you can rent Final Fantasy VIII now. And it was, Squall and Renoa and I believe Cypher, but I can't remember exactly. But I remember that being there and that kind of enticed me. And then also, uh, back in the day, and I'm guessing you're not going to be able to do this anymore in 2028, but back in the day, Pizza Hut actually used to give you demo discs for PlayStation. Like, so you would order, like, if you ordered a large stuffed crust pizza or something like that, like, you'd get this demo disc and it'd have like 5 games on it. And then that's how I like learned about different games. So it had a demo of Metal Gear Solid. It had a demo of, I want to say one of the Twisted Metal games. And then it had a demo of Final Fantasy VIII. So, and then I can't remember the other games were.
Gosh, what would you do in the demo?
Yeah, it was just for Final Fantasy VIII. It
Was it
was
just a
just
video?
the doll. No, it was just the Dallet mission.
Okay. Interesting. Man, do you remember PlayStation had its own magazine?
Yes,
And you could get demo discs in that magazine?
yes, I do.
Oh, man. I used to have like a little binder of demo discs, and there would be like my favorite demos to like play over. And man, I haven't thought about demo discs in forever. Man, I feel like the world is missing out on that.
Hmm.
There would be games that you would never have thought of, like about playing. But since they were on there, you'd be like, I might as well give this a shot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's how I learned about Final Fantasy VIII. That's how I learned about Metal Gear Solid. So yeah.
Man, that and AOL discs. Remember AOL?
Oh gosh,
Free
don't you
trial
get?
discs?
Yeah, you get like 1,000 of them in the mail in a given month.
Oh, man. Oh, did I ever tell you my story about Final Fantasy VIII and like the broken disc?
I feel like you probably have, but let's share it with the audience.
What? Okay. So back in the day, some video games were more than one disc long, and Final Fantasy VIII was 3 discs long. And I was renting it so many times from the video store that my parents were like, we should just buy it because the amount of money we're spending on renting it every week, it's cheaper to probably just own. So they bought it for me. And there was like, so after disc 2, you move on to disc 3. So I put disc 3 in, and then something happened. Like I either died or whatever, but I had to go back to disc 2. And as I was pulling disc 3 out of my PlayStation, I cracked the disc.
Hmm.
And there's no way of there's no way of fixing that. So I cracked the disc. Oh, my game, and I was like, "What do I do?" So I ended up having to rent it again so I could go back and play. Oh no, wait! I actually flip it. It wasn't disc 3 that I broke. It was disc 2, but I had to go back to disc 2 from 3 for some reason. So I had to rent the game again so I could put disc 2 in so I could go into 3. It's a whole crazy story, but I did break one of my Final Fantasy discs, so it was very upsetting. Oh man, but what a time when you had to switch discs to like continue playing your game. I miss
Yep.
it. And like DVDs, like long movies where they were like 2 disc long movies.
Mhm.
What a time we lived through. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely like the Final Fantasy games are ones that should be turned into to shows. I definitely will watch them. Like even they should have gotten movies, honestly, but who's to say who controls that? But what's your next pick though for uh JRPG?
So because it's possible that one will be made, but one does not exist yet, I put Metaphor ReFantazio, which was up for Game of the Year in 2024. It's made by Atlas, the same people who make the Persona games. And there is well, we did one on the Persona 5 anime, but there's also a Persona 4 anime. So, like, Atlas has made anime based on their properties before, so it's not far fetched to think that they could do one on Metaphor. And the story was so good, I like there are just people who don't like playing games, and I get it, like, whatever. But I think those same people would really like the story of Metaphor ReFantazio if it were like an anime and they can consume it that way versus playing a game. The story's just so good. I wish they would make it into an anime for people to watch. I'd watch it and then for other people to watch.
Nice. Yeah, well, if it's anything like the Persona games, I would have to check. Like, I really love those games. In the anime, I really fell in love with that anime too. I need to watch Persona 4, uh, that show. And then, isn't there like a remake coming out of something? There's some Persona something.
Yeah, Persona 4. So they announced it last month, I believe. Well, we already knew that a Persona 4 revival was going to come, but they finally gave us an actual release date and gave us more details during Summer Game Fest. They Persona or no, not during Summer Game Fest, Xbox series or whatever. But anyway, yeah. So Persona 4 revival is coming out, I believe, February of next year, and while there's not a date yet, they formally announced that they are working on Persona 6. So that's something to look forward to.
I'm excited. That show was so much fun. I love it. If you haven't watched the Persona anime yet, watch it. Um, and if you haven't played the Persona games yet, you should definitely play them. Persona 5 is great. Um,
Mhm.
for me, my next pick is, and this is one that I grew up with, it's Earthbound. I think Earthbound, and if you don't know Earthbound, you probably know the character Ness from Super Smash Brothers. He's the little boy with the bat. I think this would make a great anime. You know, there's space involved because the meteor falls from the sky
Mhm.
into his neighborhood. We get to see different towns and different neighborhoods, so that's like different adventures that they're all going on, different series. There's a whole bunch of different kids there, so we got like a fun little like cast of characters, and I kind of like the idea of like them being. I think it gives like that Stranger Things vibe. It's like these kids solving, uh, this mystery. This is kind of like the original Stranger Things if you think about it, Earthbound.
Yeah.
So I feel like Earthbound needs something. I feel like it's such a good story that people are sleeping on it. I can't believe there's not a they. I don't think they made an Earthbound movie or anything like that. Because when I looked up anime, but there isn't one. But Earthbound should definitely get
Mhm.
something. I think it's a fun story.
The Earthbound is a great story. It's always been one of those things that has been niche. Like, it just never had I guess major popularity. So, actually, Earthbound is two in a series of three. In Japan, the game's known as Mother.
Yeah.
We only recently got Mother 1. You could play it on Nintendo Switch Online. I think it came out maybe 3 years ago. So if you have a Nintendo Switch Online, you can play, what's it called? Mother 1. And then, of course, you can play Earthbound, which is Mother 2 on Nintendo Switch online. But Mother 3 has never formally been ported to the US. There are fan translations that exist out there, but Nintendo has never actually ported it to America.
Interesting. Maybe we need it. Everyone, we need to like rise up and say we want more of this. I think it's such a great game. It's so classic. I think it still holds up. I haven't played it recently, but I do remember it. I think just like the style of it kind of carries over. It feels very retro. So if they give the anime a little retro feel, I think that's great. So
Hmm.
I definitely think Earthbound is one that should be brought up. Do you have another
Yeah.
pick?
I have one more, but one last thought on Earthbound. So I earlier talked about how Chained Echoes was a JRPG made by one guy. Well, there's a guy, I believe his name is Toby Fox. If I got his name wrong, I apologize. But he used to be a huge fan, and I think he still is, huge fan of Earthbound, and he made a bunch of Earthbound like ROM hacks and customizations and stuff over the years. He eventually made his own game that was you could tell it's inspired by Earthbound, but it's not Earthbound. It's his own IP, and you may know the game's name. It is a incredibly popular game. He made it largely by himself, Undertale. So Undertale is inspired by Earthbound.
What? Oh my gosh, I do know Undertale. So he started off kind of modding Earthbound, and then that
Yeah,
led him to make. Wow, that's crazy. Okay, that's cool. I did not
yeah.
know that.
If you play Undertale, you'll notice some of the themes between that and Earthbound and like design and whatnot.
Man, you know what? Now that you say, yeah, it does. It feels like a companion to that. Dang, that's insane. I didn't know that about that. That's cool.
Yeah. But to answer your question, my final one, and this is a kind of a retro one because the series has largely been dead since maybe the early 2000s. The Breath of Fire series, more specifically, so there's three, I guess technically there's five because there was a PlayStation 2, 2 release called I believe it was called Breath of Fire Quarter Dragon or something like that. So that was kind of the fifth one. But there's formally Breath of Fire 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is widely considered the best by most of the fan base. I always thought that should definitely have an anime, and I don't think it's ever had an actual anime ever. As far as I could tell, it's never had an anime. That is such a good game. It is such a great retro 90s JRPG. It's a shame that nobody had, like, there's this whole nostalgia thing going on with JRPGs right now where people are trying to make JRPGs that remind us of the ones we grew up in the 90s. It's just a shame that nobody has tried to remake in the style of Breath of Fire yet. But that would make an amazing anime.
Yeah, oh man, that would be cool. I do feel like there are so many great JRPGs out there that should be turned into something. I feel like there's so many IPs that are just sitting on that could be like epic story. JRPGs are epic in just themselves, so definitely hearing like some of these that we're talking about just feels like why haven't they done anything with these things yet? Uh, and that brings you to my last pick for me. It's Chrono Trigger. I feel like Chrono Trigger definitely needs some kind of show. It does have an OVA, like a little short OVA. It was kind of like a little promotional thing, but it doesn't have a full length anime out. And I think it lends itself to that really well. Uh, just because you're jumping through time, I think that divides the show up easily. Each episode could be a different time thing, or if you want to extend stuff, arcs could go into different time periods. Uh, so I really feel like we're sitting on, and Chrono Trigger is not a new game. Neither is
Yeah,
Earthbound. So I feel like, why haven't we done anything with these? Makes me feel like they're locked up in like
y-
legal stuff. We can't do it.
probably. Like Akira Toriyama did the artwork for Chrono Trigger, the same person who did Dragon Quest and I believe
Yes.
Dragon Ball as well. So it's like they kind of already have an in into the anime world, so why not do it?
Yeah, I just feel like the time aspect of it would lend really well to like an anime. But yeah, so those are just some of the picks that we have for JRPGs that we enjoy that we think should be turned into shows. We would love to hear what you guys suggested. So please comment what JRPG. You don't say game, right? It's just JRPGs because
I
G
mean, I
is the
guess
game.
you could say JRPG game if you really wanted to, but I usually just say JRPGs.
Yeah. So comment what JRPGs you would love to see turned into full length shows. Okay, everyone. Every week, one anime steps into the spotlight. This week, we watched it, processed it, and now it's time to talk about it. This week, we are talking about Gargantia of the Verdurous Planet. Gargantia of the Verdurous Planet is a beautiful sci fi adventure that asks a surprisingly simple question: what happens when someone who has only known war is finally given a chance to live? The story follows Leto, a young pilot separated from his military fleet after a battle in deep space. He crash lands on Gargantia, a massive fleet of ships drifting across the ocean, where every day is filled with work, community, and the little joys of ordinary life. As Leto tries to understand this peaceful society, he's forced to question everything he believes about duty, humanity, and what it truly means to have a purpose. Don't let the giant robots fool you. While there are exciting action scenes, this series is just as interested in quiet character moments, colorful world building, and exploring the contrast between survival and actually living. You can stream Gargantia of the Verdurous Planet on Crunchyroll, or you can stream it on Hulu. Every great anime has its food moments, and now it's our turn. Here's this week's special recipe to help you enjoy the show. This week's featured This week's featuring a fun cocktail called Sunset Over Gargantia. It's 2 ounces of tequila, 2 ounces of mango nectar, half an ounce of lime juice, a splash of orange juice, and topped with grenadine. You can garnish this with an orange wheel if you like. So grab your favorite glass. Imagine you're relaxing on the deck of the Gargantian fleet with the ocean breeze rolling in, and let's raise a toast. Here's to new horizons, unexpected adventures, and finding home in the most unlikely places. Now, let's dive into the show. Okay, Jason, this is one you previously watched, right?
Yes, actually, I watched it. I came across it maybe, I want to say 2017, 2018. It was one of those things, you're clicking through Netflix or whatever, and something pops up as, hey, you might like this. And you go ahead and click it and, like, yeah, I do like this.
Okay, so you've seen it before, so I'll start off with my first impressions, and we could jump to like what you were thinking back then.
Hmm.
For me, not to dive too deep into the show, and just going off the first 2 episodes ish, I was shocked. I thought going in it was going to be one way, and then it kind of takes a turn to a different way, and it threw me off for a little bit. Um, so I thought we were like Gundam style robot fighting, uh, and how the show was going to be like a space opera almost. But we take a turn, and it becomes kind of like almost like a slice of life anime, living everyday life on this new world. So I was really excited. The turn like how the anime shifted quickly was a little jarring for me, but I still really started enjoying it. So it didn't really deter me because I really love slice of life. I love an anime where we're just living our lives and we're doing things ordinarily. Kind of we're seeing how different characters would react to it. So I really enjoyed the beginning part of this show. Uh, I kind of was like, this feels like, was this on? I don't know when this came out, but it feels like it should have been on Toonami. It gives me that vibes of like 90s anime.
Yeah, it definitely gives that vibe. I mean, artwork wise, you can clearly tell it's, early 2010s or whatever, but it definitely gives the vibe of 90s anime. When I first saw it, I watched it assuming it was going to be a largely sci-fi mech show because it kind of gives you that impression when you look at it, and especially when you start it. And I grew up on Gundam, talking about Toonami. I watched Gundam and Dragon Ball Z were always like how I ended my nights before I went to bed. Gundam Wing to be more specific, because there are a lot of Gundam shows out there. So I've always kind of liked the mechs, space battle type things. There are good shows, there are bad shows. I was willing to give it a chance and stuff. But yeah, in that first episode, it does a quick 180. And at first you're kind of like, okay, but then I think, and not to get into spoiler territory yet, but it's really deep show and really thought provoking, and the characters I found very enjoyable.
Yeah, I definitely love the character. I can't wait till we kind of dive deeper into them. I The first episode was definitely hooked me. I also grew up watching Gundam Wing. It's probably one of Gundam Wing was actually my intro into the Gundam franchise. And Gundam Wing is kind of really different than the rest of the Gundam shows. But yeah, I came in thinking of space opera. Was pleasantly surprised though when I kind of figured out when we figured out what the show is truly about. And um, there are definitely a lot of different surprises of the show. Well, you'll hear my rating of the show later, but I definitely was. There were moments when I was watching the show and I was like, "Oh my god, that just happened!" Or like, the reveals were crazy. There are some crazy reveals in the show. Uh, but those are just some of our first impressions. Now we are entering the spoiler zone. If you haven't watched this season, please jump to this time to keep yourself free from any spoilers.
Now entering the spoiler zone.
Okay, Jason, but before we go talk everything Gargantia, we have a brand new little game that we play, and it's to guess each other's favorite character of
Yeah.
this season or the show because there's only one season long. Uh, so, would you like to take a guess of who my favorite character is? There was one who was my favorite character for almost the whole series, and then there's a turn, and then I was like, I don't like you anymore. But then I turned back. Then that character came back around for me. But then there's another character that I was like, I'm always gonna like you. So there's kind of two picks for.
Yeah, so my guess was Pinion, I believe is his name.
Yes, I he I like him. I liked was it like Pinion, right?
Pinion, yeah. I want to call him Pinion because that's what it looks like it's spelled, but I think it's
Yeah,
like Pinion.
because I first thought his name was Philion or something like that, but now I'm seeing is like okay, Pinion is my favorite character because I love a guy trying to get out of doing work. I like someone who's like, we could be working or we could have a barbecue picnic today. So I enjoy it. He's very relaxed, very chill kind of person. So I definitely enjoyed him. But then he takes that turn in the like towards the end of the series. And I was like, I really don't like you. I can't believe he like became like a jackass. Um so I will say yes, he is my favorite character because he has a like revelation moment. So he comes back to us. But yeah, I would say he's my favorite. My guess for you, I want to say it's Leto.
You got that right. I am a sucker for a character who has a great growth arc. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a JRPG, a movie, an anime. I always love characters who have great growth arcs, and I really liked his character arc.
I think this is the first, though we've only done this once, this is the first time, and we both got hundreds. So I like that. Top picks. We know each other very well. I almost picked
Hmm.
Amy though for you.
Amy is a good character. I just like Amy is more or less kind of flat or maybe not flat, but like two-dimensional or
She
one-dimensional.
doesn't change.
Yeah, she's pretty much the same character from episode 1 to the final episode with a little bit of change, but Leto has like some major, arcs and growth and, deciding who he is. And I mean, we'll get into it in more detail, but all of that stuff is what made me really like him.
Okay, so now we're talking full spoilers. There are some things I like. I really want to talk about. I think the first thing that I want to mention is that Leto starts off in a mecha and he's fighting in space. Something happens. They're fighting like space aliens. Well, they look like space octopuses or space squids kind of thing. And he's fighting them. He crashes, passes out. He lands on a ship. And then we find out that this is Earth and there's no more land on Earth. It's just all water.
Mm-hmm.
And these are ships. And I think that was the first time I was like, what? What is happening? Though I kind of got the feel like this is going to be Earth. But it was crazy thinking, like, I don't know. I was just a little shocked that it was Earth and living on ships the whole time. So I think that was the first revelation for, like, oh my God moment for me. Also, did you also find it weird in the first episode when, like, Leto's going into fight and then his captain, gosh, what is the next captain's name? Is it Kugel? Kugel?
Kugel,
Kugel?
yeah.
Kugel? Like, when he was like, Leto, he was like, you have more people to kill or like more of these aliens to kill in your lifetime than I do. So you must survive. I was like, that's a really weird way of
Mm-hmm.
wording that you're younger and you have more life to live than me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was just taken aback by that, but that definitely was like interesting to me. And then the shift that kind of we were mentioning is like, you think it's going to be this big, like mecha suits fighting in space. But for a lot of the show, it is Leto learning how to do everyday, like living in a world that's not structured or not like everything is written out for him already. He's got freedom. He's got choices. He's got to figure out what kind of job he's good at. He's got to learn what money is and how to spend it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I really, I really enjoyed that. I could see someone being like, "This isn't what I signed up for," but it was so cool just seeing like day to day life with him.
Yeah. Yeah, and like to add additional context, like the show takes place in like the far future. Like, I don't know. I don't think they ever give us a specific date if it's like 5,000 years in the future or whatever, but it takes place in the far future. And like the humans have taken to space. As far as humanity is concerned, Earth has been destroyed or is gone or is no longer habitable or whatnot. And they live in this giant, like it's almost like if you remember the movie Elysium, there's this place called Avalon, like the space colony called Avalon. And it gives me the vibes that it's like the creme de la creme, like only the best of the best live there. And then like everybody else just either lives on like military ships. Like if you're or whatever. And so like they're in this eternal battle against this alien species called the Hideo, and the giant space squid you mentioned, and that's like literally their whole life. Like I forget exactly how many days he says at the beginning, but I did the math. Leto's been doing this for 16 years, and I get and he's really young, so I get the impression like as soon as they're able to walk and talk and whatnot, they're starting to be trained for military in this world. And this world is like a very rigid militaristic thing. Like they everybody has quick regimes, and pretty much their whole life is fighting this alien. Like that is the only thing Leto knows is fighting these aliens. He doesn't know friendships, he doesn't know jobs, he doesn't know anything. And then they do an assault on this nest. This is all in the first episode. They do an assault on this nest on the Hideo, and they start losing. So they create a wormhole so that they can go to where the nest is and fight. And then they start losing, so they retreat. But then somehow Leto like falls off of the ship that's supposed to take them back home, and so he falls through the wormhole and somehow gets taken back to Earth, and only he realizes that Earth isn't dead. It's completely submerged underwater, but it's not dead. Like there's people living on it. And so like it's almost like an
Yeah.
isekai anime if you're really thinking about it, because now he's on Earth, but Earth is like primitive to him. Like it's kind of akin to what we live on. Like they have kind of old school tools, like relative to where he's from, because he's flying in a giant mech and he lives in space and everything. They have kind of screwdrivers and blow torches, and they have cranes and stuff, and these giant ships. The Gargantia is like they call them fleets. Basically, a bunch of ships will link together and almost create like this giant floating city that looks almost like an oil rig, but it just kind of sails through the ocean. And yeah, so he's in a primitive world now because Earth, and we get into a little bit later about why it's that way, but yeah.
I I also found it interesting in like the first episode. Is it the first or second episode when he's on Earth and we go back and forth between Leto and Amy and the other people on the ship? And then when it's Leto's perspective, he's speaking, like we can understand him, and everyone else is speaking like a foreign language. And
Mm-hmm.
then when it flips, they're speaking like we can understand, and he is speaking the foreign like space language or whatever.
Yep.
Um, Gosh, another thing I was thinking about when I was watching the show was like, this is Earth, but then a lot of them don't know about Earth's past. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like, oh, this technology that we find underwater, these relics that we find, which is like our buildings, like today's buildings that have just been like flooded under, like because the water has risen above all our buildings and stuff. So it's just kind
Mm-hmm.
of like warehouses and things, but they're like these are the relics of the past. And it's kind of interesting, like I don't know. It's interesting thinking about like, whoa, was there a time where we lost history, where something happened and like history is
Mm-hmm.
forgotten and now we're restarting?
Yeah. Well, we do learn that there was a cataclysm
Yeah.
that resulted in them leaving Earth, which is a trope we've seen in other games or whatever, or anime, or just TV shows, media in general, where it's like Earth has become uninhabitable, so we took to the stars. Like there was another ice age essentially, and like humanity was like, oh well, if we stay on Earth we're gonna die, we're gonna freeze to death, and they decide to they discover wormhole and space travel and they leave. And but apparently not everybody on Earth died. Like I don't know if they just if they just went into caves or whatever, but not everybody on Earth died, and eventually all the snow melted, and that's why everything's flooded and everything's underwater. And society, to borrow from Jurassic Park, life found a way.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Well, do you want to talk about some of the characters, or were there any moments that really stuck out to you? Because there's like a couple, but they're for me, but they are later in the season.
I wouldn't say any specific moment. It's just the whole growth arc of him that stuck to me, because it's just a series of moments, because he just can't, like him learning how this world works and how different it is from him, because the world he comes from is pretty tyrannical when you really break it down. Like at one point we meet Amy, who is like the love interest or whatever, who he meets on Gargantua. We meet her brother, and her brother is sickly, like he can't walk on his own, he needs a wheelchair or whatnot. And Leto is kind of confused because basically in his society it's almost like in the movie 300, basically anybody who is physically unable to work is considered useless and would have been killed at birth. Or, if you become elderly or whatever, and you're not able to take care of yourself, you're killed because there's no benefit. There's no purpose in you being alive. So he lives in a society like that. So he couldn't wrap his head around why this boy is allowed to live, because in his society, that's what would happen.
Do you think he saw that before though? Do you think he's seen people? Because like, remember at the last couple episodes where we see all those people die, like they throw him
Hmm.
into the water. He seemed shocked. Like, I can't believe they're
Yeah.
killing all these people. So do you think he just knows of it and this is the first time witnessing it? Because he was like
I
stunned that they were doing that.
maybe it is one of those things where he's aware of it, but like he's aware, like his society is incredibly rigid and stuff. And like in the beginning of the first episode, like in the first 5-10 minutes, you hear somebody saying like, "Oh, if you keep this up and you keep rising in the ranks, you'll get to live in Avalon where you can reproduce and stuff." And he seems interested in, that's like a very subtle thing, but it shows like how structured that society is, to where you don't just get to live life, and everything has a purpose. Like, my purpose in life is to fight the Hideo. And if I can't do that, then there's no purpose in my life. Why should I be allowed to live? Yada, yada, yada. We get all of that, and then he's learning through this experience on Gargantia, like how to just be a normal person, that not everything needs to have a strict purpose, that human life has a value. We have that moment where he kills all the pirates because, he's militaristic. They're the enemy. I kill the enemy. That's what we do. And then everybody's upset because it's like, no, you don't just kill people. And so he's starting to learn like this other way of life that just did not exist in space.
Yeah. Do you think his brother was killed? Remember he talks about his brother and he's like, Amy's brother reminds him
Hmm.
of his brother. Do you think his brother
Yeah,
was murdered? Because he was like, I don't have any memory of him, but I remember having a brother.
probably. But he's probably also like kind of heartless, not heartless, but just the idea of like, he grew up in an area where people die and you just move on.
Yeah.
Probably.
Do you remember in the beginning when it's like the robot suit was telling him like, after you complete this mission, you'll have earned enough credits. And it was to spend 1 week on Avalon.
Hmm.
1 week? Like, I was like, you don't get to live there? Like, you
Yep.
just spend a week there and then you have to leave again? What, just do it all over?
Hmm.
I don't know. It was crazy. Yeah, but for like we were saying, like most of the show is watching Leto live his life. I love them, like they keep offering him fish to eat and he's like, what is and he had the robot's AI is kind of with him. He has like a is it the robot's AI that he talks to separately, or is it a different two different AIs?
No, it's the same AI. So he has like the robot, like the mech itself has an AI built in, but then he's like able to carry around like this little. It's not exactly a smartphone, but kind of like a mini pocket computer that he can carry, so he can bring his AI with him.
Yeah. So I
The
love how it's like
chamber.
this is a carcass. Whenever they offer him fish, they're like, this is a carcass of an animal. And he's always like, oh, I have to eat this. So I always thought that was funny. Yeah, I really loved it. I think we should just jump to this is the moment where I was like, this is insane. When they find out that was it what are they called? The Hidelos?
Hideo.
The Hideos in space, and then on planet Earth they're called whale sharks, I believe.
Well,
Whale
squids.
skins. Whale skins. And we find out that these creatures are actually humans that were experimented on, and then it's like the
Hmm.
evolution of that. So they're not just alien creatures; they're human beings,
Yep.
and that's like I think I had the same reaction Leto had. Was like these things that we've just been killing. They're like they're us.
Mm-hmm.
And I love when because his captain is on Earth as well. And then he asks his captain about it, and his captain's like, we knew this information already. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we didn't know they were humans, we should stop this. It's like, we don't like how they're living their life. It
Mm-hmm.
infringes on our life. So we need to exterminate them all.
Yep.
And I was when that started happening, when we started going diving into that, I was like, whoa, this is taking a very like, it's taking a stance on like humanity and how people live life and like controlling of other people's life and that
Exactly.
stuff. I was like, whoa, we went from kind of a slice of life everyday, like when I was watching it, the first part, I was like, oh, this feels like an immigrant story, like someone coming from another country to this place and then growing up, like learning the culture and learning the customs of this place. So that's how I felt watching the first like 7, 8 episodes. And then this turn, I'm like, whoa, this is actually an anime about like like the government controlling our lives or people trying to tell us how to live our lives. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then it takes another turn. Uh I don't know. Do you have anything to say about the human part of humans being?
Yeah, no, I mean it's interesting because like what we learn is that as this ice age is happening and whatnot, like a good portion of humanity decides that the answer is to go to the stars, like to abandon Earth. The how they go to the stars though varies, and so you had this one group that believed, oh, we'll create these wormholes and that'll allow us to travel to deep space and colonize space and whatnot. And then the other one just thought, well, that's stupid. There's no way a human being can survive the vacuum of space. We need to evolve so that we can survive in space. We need to evolve to where we can freely travel through space. We don't need oxygen. Our body can survive so they called themselves the evolvers, and so they experimented on themselves, and that's how they wound up becoming Hideo. And so yeah, so like they are effectively human. And so it's just funny because you start the movie or the show, excuse me. So you start the anime thinking, oh, these are these deep space aliens that I don't know, maybe they came across one day and that's how they started fighting each other or whatnot. But then you realize, like, no, this is a fight that has gone all the way back to Earth. It's just these two groups that have a major disagreement on how they should be living their lives, who are fighting each other to the death.
Yeah, it's just because they were the evolvers, and I don't know what they call the other people, the travelers
Yep.
or what. It is crazy though to be like, we're just gonna change how our like autonomy is, especially when we start first see, because it's not like the evolution took time and like slowly we evolved into that. They transformed humans into these space squids because we saw one guy get experimented on and he basically was a squid and we could see his head from the backside looking at us. So that was a little jarring. And yeah, when we find out that his captain is on Earth, then it took another turn for me because we find out that his captain is dead, that he's not alive in the suit. He's been dead for a while, and that the suit's AI has decided this is what's right and taken it upon itself. And then I was like, well, this is now AI going out of control kind of
Mhm.
thing. And this is like, and I just looked it up. This anime came out in 2013. So this is 2013. I feel like, not that AI is brand new. I feel like AI has just exploded recently, the past few years, but like we've had Terminator and all that stuff before. So it's not like a new concept, but when I found out that the like AI was like the AI was basically like, I am God now, and these people need me to lead them. I was like, oh wow, we're going for it now. we're going for it, and I'm here for it too. I enjoyed the twists of it. Yeah. So
Yep.
like, those were the couple moments where I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this
Mm-hmm.
show is taking the turn.
Yep. It's like what's it called? I believe it's called Zeroth or Zeroth Law Rebellion. You see it in like Age of Ultron, iRobot, stuff like that, where you have an AI that was created to either take orders or protect humanity or whatever, that evolves and decides that the way to protect humanity is to lord over it. And so that's kind of where that AI did, because like what is it? The captain actually landed on Earth before, like, I guess
Leto,
because
yeah,
time space distortion and all that stuff. Because he falls off the ship too, presumably, and so he lands on Earth before Leto does, and he's found by a different flotilla or a different fleet of pirates, and they believe he's a god and whatnot because he has his magic ship and stuff. And so he decides the best thing to do is to like bring order to this primitive society is to implement like the same rules or laws or order that he has in the Galactic Alliance. And so he starts trying to enforce it, but then he winds up dying. And so but I guess in order to like maintain the illusion or whatnot, he gives his AI, Striker, I believe it's its name. He gives the AI Striker the order to keep, basically to see through his dream, to bring order to the people of Earth that is similar to that of what they have at the Galactic Alliance. And then so the AI will start talking to people using Commander or Captain Kugel's voice, given the illusion that Captain Kugel is alive. Then there's the reveal that he's actually been dead this whole time. And yeah, and yeah, you get the realization. So the AI believes that the only way, like, humans are just the humans. These humans are just too primitive. They're too stupid. The only way we can keep them safe is if I rule them as a god.
yeah. I was shocked when that happened. I thought almost that it was a recording too, like all these saying. But then he had like conversations with Leto, so I
Hmm.
don't know. When Leto opened the like cockpit, and then there was just the dead captain in there, it was very. And then they had that. Then we got our mecha fight at the end, so I
Hmm.
really enjoyed that. But were there any other moments or any other characters you want to talk about before we give our kind of final thoughts and a
Uh,
rating?
no, I think that was great. I mean, that whole everything about the show was great, and I do like that Leto, just finally. I mean, we find out like maybe a little bit halfway through the season that there was just no way he was returning to Earth because, like, what was it? Chamber, his AI, eventually does like a calculation, and he sends an SOS message back to his fleet in space, and he does a calculation that it's going to take like 6,000 years for the message to be received. So that gives you an idea of how
Yeah,
far away they are, and he has no way to achieve light speed travel or create a wormhole of his own or anything. So he's stuck.
yeah. I when they found out that, because that was kind of around like the middle of the show when we
Hmm.
found out that he's stuck here forever. I really thought, oh, this is where we're really deep diving into like Leto getting his own place and like Leto living, like he's gonna find a job because he does try out a few jobs beforehand and he's horrible at everything. Um, so I really thought that was gonna be the continuation of the show, and the turn I did enjoy. Like every other new twist, I really enjoyed that too. So the show was really good. Yeah. Well, like we do, like our new rating system. We have a new rating system, everyone. And this week we will be rating Gargantia. Jason, what would you rate Gargantia?
So using the news system, I would have to give it a delicious dish. It's not like it is an amazing anime. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't. put it like on the same level as Full Metal Alchemist, which is my favorite anime of all time. So I can't give it legendary meal, but I would absolutely say it is great. It is worth a watch. Everybody should watch it. It's probably worth it definitely is worth the second watch. So I would give it a delicious dish.
I am I'm also giving a delicious dish with this like I don't know, warning, no, like caveats, like just know what you're getting into. Like I feel like if you kind of go with the flow and accept kind of how it's transitioning and how the show evolves, because it does kind of go through stages. And if you're okay with that and you're prepared for that, then it's a great show. But if you're like going in thinking like space, then you're gonna be fooled. But the cover art isn't even space; it's more ocean. So you
Hmm.
shouldn't be tricked by that. But I think it this surprised me. I love slice of life. That's one of my favorite anime genres, and this feels slice of life to me. So I really loved it. It's definitely it's I would rate it delicious dish. I definitely could see myself rewatching this again, just because I really love the themes of it. The commentary it had towards the end about just like government control and AI. It's very thought provoking for me. Like especially this time when I'm really thinking about like those kind of things. So for me, delicious dish. It's definitely worth a watch. Those are just kind of the ratings that we gave it and our thoughts about the show. We would love to hear your comments, your favorite characters, and what you would rate this show. So please comment that on our Instagram. Okay, it's time to put you onto something new. This is our recommendation segment where we share whatever we've been watching, reading, or obsessed with over lately.
Recommendations, recommendations. Here are some recommendations.
Jason, do you have a recommendation for our audience this week?
I have been watching, and I'm finally caught up with Digimon Beat Break. It is the latest Digimon season. It is really good. I don't want to spoil anything about it, but it's definitely a different take on Digimon from pretty much every season before. So I would strongly recommend people watching it.
That is on my to do list. I want to watch it. Like I said, next week I'll be traveling to San Diego. I think I'm gonna just download a few of those episodes for the airplane ride and just give it a shot over there. I've only heard great things about it though, so I'm really excited to give it a go. My recommendation this week is also another anime, and it's one that I found recently. It's called "You and I Are Polar Opposites." It's another slice of life. It's about this bubbly girl who falls in love with a quiet classmate, and they're just two totally different people. And it's just fun seeing them go on dates together and just how their personalities clash, but their love is what brings them together. I really love this show a lot. If you watch the anime My Dress Up Darling, this is it feels very akin to that. So I definitely say check it out. That's on Crunchyroll. I believe Digimon is also on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, it's on
Oh,
Hulu
it's
as
Hulu too,
well.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. So they release the sub episodes or the subbed episodes every week, and then after about they do it in batches, so like after about 5-10 episodes or something, they'll release dubs. So you if you want to you if you're willing to wait, you can watch the dubs. There's a bunch of them on now, but if you're wanting to stay up to date, then you'll have to watch the subs.
Nice. I will probably be watching the dubs. Dubs are just easier for me at the time, though I'm not anti sub, you know, but I grew up watching anime and dub, so that's kind of my preferred method. And finally, everyone, the kitchen is closed for today. You can find us on Instagram at Anime Bento Pod. You can find me at Jimsta2.
Yep. And then we can find me. We'll be back doing That's My Purse pod here soon with the new, what is it, season 15 of King of the Hill. So join us on that.
Yeah, I'll definitely leave a link for that in the show description. Thank you everyone for listening. Hope you're full of anime and even more full of good food. We'll catch you next time. Stay legendary.
And I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Open the box, what will it be? A world of wonders, just wait and see. Big eyes, big dreams in every scene. It's anime bento, it's your routine. Laugh, cry, shout, let it all flow. Heroes, villains, battles will grow. Grab your chopsticks, here we go. Anime bento steals the show. Slice of life or action pack, romance, twists, or demons attack. Every flavor, every track. Anime bento keeps you coming back. Tune in now, don't be slow. It's anime bento. Let's start the show.